Bihar. Let's see what are the developments that transpire. BJP, of course, knows that Nitish Kumar has made up his mind. I'm cutting across once again to Sujata Paul and Mr. Chandrachur Singh, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Mr. Singh, as you said some time ago, that Nitish Kumar knows it better than you or I how uncomfortable this position can be in the changed dynamics of Mahagathbandhan. The key question is, how will he really deal with them?
See, that is what I was trying to tell you. In Bihar, there has been a social change, or at least the equations between castes, and the formidable combination of Muslim and Yadav, which Lalu Yadav had created. Its counter was done by the non-Yadav, non-Muslim, OBC and Mahadalit Gathbandhan, which Nitish Kumar had created. Now, what has happened over a period of time is that the BJP has also sneaked in, consolidating the forward caste vote and also creating a lot of entry and dent into that forte which Nitish Kumar was holding. So it is natural that now both the sides are actually representing, or at least trying to champion, the same vote bank. So that is why this confrontation is bound to happen. It was bound to happen. It is now happening in front of us. The only issue is, what will Nitish Kumar do? Will he go back to the Lalu Gathbandhan, or will he hand over the power to Lalu Gathbandhan, saying that, look, this is what the requirement is. The OBC, the Mahadalit Gathbandhan has to become formidable, and therefore I am now sacrificing. And he would color it with the name of secularism and other things.
Chandrachurji, if the political chatter, and in fact what my colleagues are reporting from the ground is to be believed, then Nitish Kumar is set to become the face once again, and that entire arrangement where Tejasvi Yadav had the home affairs or far more crucial departments, that might be sustained. But yes, even an hour is a very long time in politics, and we are holding our horses before we make an official statement on that. Sujata Paul of the Congress Party continues to be with us on the broadcast. Sujata ji, we saw what happened to Mahagathbandhan back in 2017. The Congress Party once again is all set to be part of this Mahagathbandhan. What makes you trust Nitish Kumar once again?
First of all, we can't say what is going to happen in the next few minutes. You're talking about hours. I would say next few minutes. However, in the face of a government, a government which is trying to destroy every single state government, and I'm talking about the central government under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah, we have to understand that it is time for everybody who is targeted by this government to come together to save the democracy of this country. This is not how governments function. We have seen this happen in the Mahavikas Aghadi government. What happened to that? ED notices were given to Shiv Sena leaders, but nothing is happening on that front anymore because the government has been brought down, and the BJP, Shiv Sena, rebel faction combine is thinking that they are going to come into power, and that matter being in court, that is also not sure. Now, when you talk about Bihar elections, we saw how Bihar elections were conducted. We saw how the returning officers behaved during that time. So I think it is time for everybody to protect the democracy of this country. And if Mr. Nitish Kumar takes a decision of, joining back with the RJD or the Congress, it is for our leaders to decide finally. But I don't think there's any wrong in that.
No, Sujata ji, there's nothing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong or right in politics. I don't know a political party which has not worked with any other political party, including the BJP and the Congress party. So I think morality has to be kept aside. But are you also making a comment about the entire integrity of the electoral process that took place in the state of Bihar? Because you made a comment about the returning officer.
Yes, certainly, because at that time, if you remember, results were not being declared, and there were questions being raised about, how the returning officers, and this is in the case of all those results which had very low margins. So we cannot forget that. We cannot, we do know that questions have been raised about EVMs in the past, but the question on the integrity and credibility of our returning officers were, put on question during the Bihar elections. And not only did we see the Prime Minister, in addition to that, the Prime Minister going and declaring 80 lakh crore do ya 90 lakh crore and 1.25 lakh crore.
Sujata ji, if you were not happy with the election results, why didn't the Congress party challenge it in the court?
we do respect the results, and whatever happens as far as the results are concerned, we have to understand that governance should go on. But in the case of the BJP, there's no governance. It is only about coming into power by hook or by crook.
I understand.
That is not how this country should
No.
be
I'm taking all your
run.
points. I'm giving you a patient hearing. Before I go to Chandrachurji once again, I'm reiterating the question I asked you in the first place. Nitish Kumar is the same chief minister who worked with the BJP, who broke up the Mahagathbandhan alliance. Now he's coming back to this Mahagathbandhan alliance. In all probability, you're right, it doesn't happen till it has actually happened. But will the Congress party once again trust Nitish Kumar is the question I asked you.
Which will be taken by the High Command will be before you if such a case happens. But if it does happen, it will be because the government is under attack by an alliance partner of Mr. Nitish Kumar. And that shows that it is time that all of us come together for the sake of the people of Bihar. And that is the reason why any decision will be taken, because for us, it is always the people and the democracy which is important.
Always the people and the democracy which is important. How true is that? Chandrachurji, I'm coming back to you. We're also getting some more breaking developments. We'll just go to that in just a bit. But Chandrachurji, a question to you about the stability of this government, if at all it is formed. And we were talking about the uncomfortable questions that remain before Nitish Kumar. Tejasvi Yadav, in many ways, politically speaking, in stature, is a changed person now. And what kind of political equations will really be affected with the changed status, political status of Tejasvi Yadav within this Mahagathbandhan, if at all it is formed?
See, I think there are two things that one needs to talk about. Notwithstanding howsoever Nitish Kumar stays in power, in whichever way he stays in power, his size and stature will be cut down. Either ways, any party, which is the third number party in Bihar, if the chief minister belongs to that party, no matter what arrangements do you have, you may place.
Chandrachurji, I'm sorry I have to interrupt you there. There's some more breaking news which is coming in right now. Let's go to that.